OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outcasted OC. It is that time of the month once again. A pay-per-view is upon us. WWE Elimination Chamber coming from Perth, Australia. We have someone who is actually there on the podcast right now, so it's very exciting. She's already done so far.
Who's on the podcast? Is it Elimination Chamber?
Oh wait, no, they're not here. Never mind. It was G and Ross's cat, but you know, I thought they was on one of the screens, but apparently not. She must be busy at the stadium. But we do have an amazing predictions episode because we also have a special guest. We've got Jay. How are you doing, dude?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. It took you guys long enough to get arguably the best member of SnapBacks Beards on the pod, but here I am. So
he's starting a war with his own boys.
I am. I'm coming for both.
Nothing like a bit of faction shade. You got to love it. You got to love it. Right, guys, at the predictions episode, we got some new rules as from the Royal Rumble. If you watch that episode, then you know what's about to happen. We are really taking predictions seriously this year. For every prediction we get right, it's just another point for Outcasted OC. However, the guests are ahead so far. Keaton was on last time, and he actually got more predictions correct than the rest of us, which, makes us look absolutely fantastic. So, we're off to a great start this year, I suppose. We've only got 4 matches as well, so that's going to be interesting. I quite like that, to be honest with you. I quite like the fact that we've only got 4 matches. 2 of them are chambers, so it's not like it's going to be a really short show.
I feel like chambers will be quite long matches anyway. So.
Exactly. They're going to be about 40 minutes each.
They'll be an hour-ish at least. They'll be like 60 minutes.
I have a feeling it's probably going to be kind of like the War Games matches. The War Games matches from Survivor Series. Around that time. But we've also got a great Grayson Waller effect segment that's going to be going on with Seth Rollins and Mr. Cody Rhodes. So that's going to be interesting to see. So what? Do you know what? Let's get started with that one. Actually, we might as well get the segment out of the way. The Grayson Waller effect segment with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I'm going to start with Jay. What do you think is going to happen?
So my thing with this is, and for people that are going there, is this not a bit underwhelming that this is the only capacity that you get to see Seth and Cody in, and that they're not actually in a match? That's my only thought with it. I guess there's going to be something with the bloodline, whether it's Jimmy and Solo, which it probably will be, to come down and like maybe attack them or have words with them. But yeah, for me, the great. I know they want to get Grayson on the card as well, but again, he should be in a match, really. But I know the Grayson Waller effect is his thing. But I'm a little bit underwhelmed by this personally, if I'm being totally honest.
Right. Okay. That's an interesting take. To be fair, I mean, I suppose you could argue the fact that they try to keep Seth fresh for Mania. They try to keep him out of the ring as much as possible. But it is interesting to say that. I suppose you could also make the argument that at least they're trying to get him out there, like all the Seth fans and all the Cody fans. I mean, Cody doesn't really have an excuse. He probably could have a match, to be honest. Like maybe put him in there with like a Solo or a Jimmy, like just like a throwaway match on Chamber, like But with Seth, I get it. Like it's kind of like a bigger picture situation, isn't it? Like we kind of want to see him have his big moment, bringing in a world title into WrestleMania. He doesn't usually get to have those big moments at Mania. Seth, bless him. So I suppose you got to look at it from that angle, but I totally understand. But let's go to someone who actually is going to be there and how that they're going to be able to experience the atmosphere as it's happening. So, Court, what do you feel about it? Are you disappointed that we're not going to be seeing a Seth match, or are you just happy that he's on the card?
I'm just happy that he's on the card. You guys know how stressed out I was when I found out he was. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. You guys knew how stressed I was when I found out that he was injured and potentially not going to be able to wrestle. I was stoked when I found out there was a Grayson Waller effect segment. Bit confused why Cody was there too, but then it kind of made sense when that alliance started to be formed between the two of them. In terms of what could happen, I definitely think we are going to see the bloodline come out. I don't know if that's going to be in person or if that's going to be on the Tron. I'm not too sure. but I can definitely see them working towards confirming that tag match for WrestleMania. Now, inside a secret, and I could be wrong on this, but there was like speculation yesterday there was a private jet that was flown into Perth. Could be related to Rock or Roman, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people are saying that The Rock does have a charity event this weekend, but I'm not going to lie to you, that poster did look incredibly fake, and it looked like Ross would have made it on Microsoft Word. So I don't know. No, I'm saying like the poster looked very basic, that like anybody could do it, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to know your work. Your work is great, but it just wasn't a captivating poster, if I'm being honest. But yeah, anything could happen, and I can completely understand why people are underwhelmed by this or upset. I completely get it. But as you say, kudos to WWE for at least getting their two big faces on a card in some capacity. As I say, I'm happy just to be able to see my boy Seth. I don't mind that he's not wrestling. I've come to peace with
wants
it.
to sing the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for real. Ross, what are you thinking?
So I'm actually really happy about this because this gives storyline options, and I think that's always still good to have in pay-per-views. I know a lot of people go for just the matches and the big spectacles of what the match stipulation is, especially being an Elimination Chamber. You're going to watch a chamber match, but you know, Seth being injured, it's perfect for Seth to still show his face, add story going into Mania, and keep him healthy and not affect him. Same with Cody. You don't really want Cody to wrestle on Elimination Chamber leading up to Mania, just in case an injury happens. And from like the most recent promo of Seth saying about there's only one person who's fit to be your Shield, I kind of had a feeling it's going to go a scenario of Grayson's talking with them, the Bloodline will come out and it'll be a 3-2 scenario, and Jay will run out and even the score to help him out.
Oh, that's interesting.
To add the Jay and Jimmy feud more.
I like
if
that.
we had Jimmy, Rock, Solo walk out, no Paul Heyman in sight, so Paul Heyman didn't advise him to do it. The Rock has put his own self in, been like, I'm doing it. It's on me. I don't like how you've been disrespecting us. And then, you know, they go to do the beatdown on Seth. Obviously, Jay is about to see that. Jay runs down, goes and fights Jimmy. They've got previous beef. That's how I see they're going to work out this Grayson Waller effect. Because that will make everyone hype. There's a pop for Jay because everyone loves Jay's song at the moment. It adds enough story to make you more interested in Mania as well.
I really like that.
I genuinely think that could happen because there are flags everywhere in Perth for Elimination Chamber, and there's Jey Uso flags, and everyone is like, Jey Uso's not even on the card. Why is he there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like, because we had this last time with Clash at the Castle, they accidentally put Rey Mysterio
they put the
on
poster. Do you remember, Jay, the poster for the Judgment Day versus Rey and Dom match that hadn't been announced, and that poster just appeared. Yeah.
And they had flags of like Rey Mysterio like a few days before the actual event around Cardiff.
They hadn't actually announced
we were like,
the match.
Well, now we know the match is there. So maybe that's why Jey Uso is on a flag, because he is in that Grayson Waller segment.
I mean, I thought that's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't mind it.
I think it's definitely a possibility.
I'll be happy because that means my.
I would. If G doesn't bring up these points, I'm going to ask G next. I'm going to bring up something about this segment that you guys haven't mentioned yet. But I will talk about if G doesn't mention it. But G, what do you think is going to happen in the segment?
To be honest, I'm pretty much on the same level as you guys. I think there'll be some kind of bloodline interference. I genuinely thought The Rock, because of the whole thing The Rock and Cody have got going on with he faces Roman at WrestleMania. It'd be a big pop for The Rock to be there. You know, that was genuinely what I thought was going to happen. There'll be a bloodline interference somewhere along the line.
Okay. I do want to bring up the fact that Paul Heyman was talking to Grayson on SmackDown last week. I'd like to know what the conversation was there. Is he gonna maybe bring up the fact that obviously, like, you know, Grayson, you're there, you've got a buddy called Lost in Theory, you know, you might as well, you know, fight Seth and Cody, you know, they might use them as like cannon fodder.
Oh, that's a shout.
Yeah, because Austin Theory is there as well because he's got a meet and greet on Saturday morning.
Yeah, Austin Theory had an argument with a news reporter because they.
I saw that.
Yes,
I saw that as well.
It's disgusting behavior. You've got wrestlers coming over to promote your country with their show, and you're like, "Oh, it's fake, right?" Like,
Yeah, you're not
say
really
that?
hitting each other.
They're baiting each
Yeah,
other.
how are you directly gonna say that in front of the wrestler? I love his reaction of just saying, "I'll smack you right now" to prove that.
Tell me if it hurts or not.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So funny.
There was something else I wanted to bring up as well. I mean, this is highly like speculatory, but there was someone else teasing about Perth, saying that they're not going to go because the beer's too expensive. Now, why would you even bring it up? Like, why would you just like let it be and like just like not talk about it whatsoever? But we had a Mr. Steve Austin talking about how the beer's too
I
expensive.
thought so. When you said the beers are too
Don't.
expensive, I was like, there's only one person that came to mind.
So
That's
not
scenario,
where my mind went.
maybe let's replace Jey Uso with Mr. Austin when The Rock and Solo and Jimmy's there. Can you imagine that?
That would
Can
be,
you
that would be
imagine?
so cool.
Stop.
That would
'Cause
be
it
dope.
Actually, I've seen that theory go around online, and it genuinely could make sense. And I haven't seen
I would
any
love
online
that
activity
stare
from
down.
the
That
platforms do
stare
that.
down would be so
But
sick
also,
to see
in
again.
the Superstore, there were heaps of like Rock and Steve Austin merch, like right next to each other as well.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
strange.
I don't
There
know
you
what they're
go.
playing
Yeah,
at,
I was hoping one of you would bring up, but like I didn't know if any of you had seen it on social media.
No,
But,
no,
like,
no.
I'm just
No,
saying
here's-
that my theory there is just like why would you even bring it up if you weren't like involved or going? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even need to talk about it if you were just like, and the private chat makes sense. Like, do we just reach out to Steve and just goes, "Yo, jump on this plane, let's go to
But
Perth and make a
here's
moment."
the thing: is if it ended up being like a Triple H Rock style faction rivalry, you could easily have Triple H be like, "Look, man, I'm not in a position where I can ever get physical with this anymore. I have someone who can help me out," and
Yeah.
insert Steve Austin.
Just the
That
glass
would be
break.
insane.
I just,
Yeah.
I just think it would be
Like,
dope.
off.
You've got Solo,
Honestly.
Jimmy.
They've got to pull something out the back because this is like what the first PLE that's ever been in Australia.
It's the first one that's been there in 6 years. But Triple H did say in that video that he did post to his Instagram that it is going to be like monumental in history.
Yeah.
So I think he's got something big planned. I honestly believe we are seeing with the main roster premium live events. I definitely think we are seeing the NXT kind of formula where it's less is more, quality over quantity, and
Yeah.
I definitely think he's going to
Definitely.
pull something out of the bag. Like this man has been cooking this year alone. Even on the weekly shows, I feel like we're definitely going to see some crazy shenanigans, and I'm not prepared for it. I'm just saying that now. Can you
Don't
imagine?
It's the best way to be. Like
No,
I agree.
when we was at Money in the Bank, none of us knew John Cena were going to be there. The
Yeah.
Rock from that.
Yeah, that was mental. That was
Don't
Yeah,
be
for real.
prepared for nothing. Be prepared for nothing.
I know. It's just you guys are making me excited. That's all I'm saying.
That's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I'm just gonna go all the way. I'm just gonna go all the way and say, like in terms of what I want to happen, that's what I want to happen. I want to have Jimmy, The Rock, and Solo in the ring. Seth and Cody outnumbered. What are they gonna do? Glass shatters. He comes down on the four-wheeler. The Rock turns around, kind of like only The Rock can do the facial expressions, like when he hears Austin's like glass shattering. The man who knows him best. One of the best rivalries in WWE history.
Yeah.
Oh, The Rock versus
It would
Austin.
be fab.
Throw some punches. Oh, great! Can you imagine that pop? That moment. It'd be amazing. I'd really love to see it.
You'd
I
hear me
also want to
screaming
throw
from
an
here.
extra thing in this. There is also the other potential of a new Bloodline member joining because there was a free agent. That private jet could easily be hiding a free agent they've flown over and not said
I
anything.
wonder who that could be.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu recently
Yeah.
became free agent from MLW, and New Japan didn't sign him after they did his New Japan trial. I genuinely think it'd be sick to see him align with the Bloodline, but he does NXT work. Like he's the Bloodline enforcer of NXT for a bit, and then goes with them.
Yeah.
Only time will tell. Is gonna is all I can say with this segment. But moving on to the matches. Moving on to the matches, we might as well start with the big tag team match that I am personally really looking forward to, and if it's given enough time, could easily steal the show. We have got the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships on the line. We've got the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest versus Oh my god, what's this stupid tag
New
team
Cat
name?
Republic.
New Catch Republic.
Yeah, let's just call them Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate because that's a terrible
it's
name.
New Cat Republic. Get with the times, man.
Yeah, but there's already a tag team in NXT called the No Quarter Catch Crew. That's like it's the same thing. Like,
No, it's not.
yes, it is.
No, because they're a republic. They're not a crew. They're a republic.
Oh, the catch this, catch that, catch me outside. How about that? How about we just call them Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate?
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, WWE Tag Team Championships on the line. I'm going to start with G because she went last time. So, G, who do you think is going to win and maybe why?
So obviously I'm super duper excited for Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate to be getting their moment, because as someone who is from Birmingham, where Pete Dunne is from, and Tyler Bate is just down the road from Dudley, it's really nice to see that represent from my hometown. However, I don't think they're going to win. I think the Judgment Day are holding this one out till at least Mania, where we could possibly, hopefully see some kind of a bout split or something. Because it really needs it, but I've got Judgment Day to win this one.
Nice. That's pretty sound logic as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Ross, what about you?
Big strong boys. British strong style at its finest. I'm sorry, Judgment Day have had a great long run with it, and I said this to G. I think the only person coming out of Elimination Chamber as the true dominant force of Judgment Day to make everyone else kind of settle back in and be like, oh, we need to stop playing games, is Rhea. So I see Finn and Damien losing, because Damien then gets to refocus on, I need to cash in. Finn can refine that, solos run kind of attitude again as well. Or he can start teaming with JD, which would be more success because they've had prior synergy. For me as well, it's like, as G said, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, those are some of my all-time favorites, especially representing Birmingham. Like, I can't not have them win.
Okay, no, it makes sense. I quite like the theory there of like you want Rhea Ripley really the only person to be coming out of Elimination Chamber strong. It makes sense. I do think Judgment Day need kind of like a hard reset as well. To be honest with you, I think
that's how I would see them do the hard reset. Yeah, like
I think that apart from Rhea, I really think they've lost the way a little bit. But like
they could hard reset by putting our truth in Judgment Day finally.
No.
Well, leave that with me, because I might have something to say about that in my prediction for this match.
I actually think our truth is part of the reason why Judgment Day's lost its way, but that's just me personally.
An opinion's an opinion. Yeah. But Court, what about you?
Right, don't get me wrong, I love our truth. I love the comedic joke, but Judgment Day was never meant to be as this comedic joke group. And now with all these our truth segments, they're making them very much this we're jokey, funny, when Judgment Day was meant to be, no, we are the dominant guys of WWE. We're holding belts from multiple different angles. We are the pillars. Like, for me, they were already overseeing Bloodline stuff because they were holding more gold than Bloodline for a long time as well. So it's just, it feels weird just where they're at now. And I think the hard reset is a perfect thing. Like, as I said there, they kind of had Rhea shout at them being like, oh, so you think this is funny? No, actually show me that you can fight and all of that, and got back in their head to, no, start being serious again.
That's a fair point. It is a fair point. Like they have become kind of like a joke on Raw lately. But yeah, I understand.
Hey, but at least they're not opening up Monday Night Raw every week now.
Oh, yeah?
You guys complained about it. Reese complained about that for a long time. At least they're not doing that now. So
I do want to make a point that like the whole Rhea Ripley telling him to get a grip with the Judgment Day, we need to remind everyone of who we are. She has said that about 7 times in a backstage segment over last year. And so it's clearly not sinking in. So Court, what do you reckon about this match?
I reckon it's going to be, as you say, I reckon if this match is given time and it's done well, it could definitely be considered match of the night for sure. Outside of the chamber matches, I could definitely see them stealing the show. I do think that Judgment Day are going to retain, though. I think they are going to be taking those tag titles into WrestleMania, which would be a shame for Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, considering they've come a long way since NXT UK. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, they're challenging for the tag titles on a premium live event. Like, that's an achievement within itself. So I definitely think we're going to see Judgment Day retain. but it's going to be a hard-fought battle for sure.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think it's a really good argument as well for the fact that maybe the tag titles need to be split up at this point because you've got so many good teams who could possibly flounder this year simply just because there is only one set of tag team belts. And I think a team like I'm not saying the name. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. It's such a crap name.
Republic.
It's terrible. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Why don't they just be called Big Strong
Every time
Boys?
I'm about to say the name, I throw up a little bit in my mouth. Like it's just terrible.
Just call them British Strong Style then, because it is just British Strong Style without Trent Seven. That's literally all it is.
Okay, I'll call him British Strong because the third person isn't there. I'll call him BS, kind of like the new name. Jay, what do you reckon, dude? Like, who do you think is coming out of this match, the winner?
So I agree. I don't like the name. I don't like the name at all.
No,
but the match is going to cook. It's going to be a great match. But Judgment Day are going to retain because they're then going to go into Mania with the tag lose. And I think this might be what you were going to say, Reese. So sorry if I'm stealing it from you. But where they lose to Awesome Truth.
I agree. I am on exactly the same page as you.
I wasn't
on exactly the same page. I think that's the direction that they're going to go. I think it makes sense.
That's the Mania match right there.
It is. I agree. Yeah. I think it's like a proper. Sometimes WrestleMania needs like a feel-good moment, a feel-good match, and I think R-Truth getting his redemption, getting his payback on the Judgment Day by teaming with the person that was always there for him from the start. Shawn Michaels. No, I'm joking. The Miz. awesome Truth of winning the tag titles at Mania. So I think that's what's going to happen.
And also, they're the exact right team that would just hand a set back. They would just take a set to SmackDown and be like, "We'll just be the Raw Tag Team Champions. You guys can have the SmackDown ones back."
Mm-hmm.
It's the sort of thing R-Truth would do.
I would make a suggestion as well that maybe after WrestleMania, the whole general manager rivalry that's going on with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce at the moment, maybe they argue for separate tag team titles. Maybe they finally argue for them to be split up because obviously they can't decide which one's better. So they're like, all right, we'll just have our own titles back then. Like half of those titles are still blue. Like give me my titles back. Do you know what I mean? So I think after WrestleMania we do need to have a serious conversation with about the tag titles. That could even be an episode on this podcast. But swiftly moving on to the hometown girl. Let's talk about the women's tag team. No, sorry, the women's championship match.
I didn't quite catch then. Jay, did you say Judgment Day?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Reese, you said Judgment Day as well.
I also, we had the exact same answer. Yeah.
I think we were unanimous with that one.
No, Ross wasn't.
Apart from
I will
Ross.
stand by my New Cat Republic.
You live in a
carry on.
a river called Denial.
Down, so I didn't quite.
NCR.
Well, I've got New Catch Republic. I'll call him the NCR because that reminds me of Fallout, and that makes me think of good things. So I'll call him that.
It reminds me of MCI, as in my kids.
Yeah, that's where my head went. MCR as well.
Because I'm not okay with the name. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's terrible. Right, yeah. So the women, and I call them the women's tag team match before. So it's not. It's a singles match. My apologies. Rhea Ripley.
It's not wrestling.
Rhea Ripley, the girl who's from Australia, versus Nia Jax, the girl who's actually also from Australia. So two natives to the country. I'm going to start with
Australia.
Nia Jax was born on a military base in Australia, apparently.
Yeah, in Sydney.
Yeah. So technically, it's two Aussies going at each other, mate. Little known facts with Reese. Little known fact for you there. You couldn't know that. Cool. I'm going to start with you, seeing as we're talking about hometown girls, and you are in their home country.
Interesting. I've seen a lot of people say that Nia could win, just to really upset the crowd, and I feel like they shouldn't do that because I will come and find them. And I will personally hunt them down. And I'll be like, what the hell, man? Like, I won't, no violence or anything. I'm not that kind of person. But I'll just strongly use my words or I'll just call them out on TikTok. Anyway, I think it's going to be Rhea retaining. I really would love for her to retain. I think this is the first PLE that she's been a part of on the main roster since she's been a part of a part of WWE. She wasn't a part of it in NXT. So this is like her first time coming to Australia, being a part of WWE on the main roster in her entire career. And I definitely think she not only is going to win this match, I definitely think she is going to get a phenomenal response from everybody. Everyone down here loves her. And I think maybe this could be like the true, because I feel like she's a heel or a tweener at the moment. I definitely think this could be a way to solidify her more on the babyface side of things. I don't know if she gets that kind of crowd reaction from Australia, whereas everyone is going to be booing Nia Jax out of the building. I definitely think it's going to be a good match, but I do think Rhea will retain. And later on down the line, depending on what match order we see things in, we may see the winner of the women's chamber match maybe come out and confront her. I'm not too sure, but we'll wait and see how we get on with that one.
Nice. I like that. JE, what do you think?
So yeah, I similar to Court saw a theory where they were saying that maybe Nia would win and then that Rhea would enter the chamber and absolutely dominate everyone, like steal someone's spot, which I wouldn't mind seeing that, but there's no way that Rhea loses this match. There's absolutely no way. So yeah, I've got to say that Rhea wins.
Yeah,
it's I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, is it? But like, you know, it's getting there, isn't it? G, what do you reckon?
Yeah, like they're on a similar path. Like, I can't see a way that Rhea loses this match this close to Mania in her home country. Like, but WWE have been known to do some fucking weird things.
I was going to say, you can't just market a show around one person. This entire
not look up your Australian talent at an Australian show.
We'll get into that another time.
I'm putting Rhea to win, even though anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the WWE. Ross, do you agree?
Yeah, Rhea retained, but I could see Nia Jax stealing half of Rhea's makeup on her gear like she did Raquel.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
if you guys don't know that meme, she literally would Nia openly talked about it recently and was like, I've cleaned it 3 times and it's still there. Raquel paid a cleaning fee.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with what all of you have said. Similar to what G said before about you can't see, you know, Rhea Ripley losing a match this close to WrestleMania, especially in her home country. I mean, you could arguably say the same for Nia. I mean, she's been built up quite a lot, like these past couple of months. Like she's been built as a monster. I mean, to the point where she literally came out on Raw and destroyed everybody that was going to be in that chamber by herself. Like 6 people she took out all by herself. And I know that's building up for Rhea Ripley, making Rhea Ripley maybe even look stronger when she finally wins. I get that, but Nia is like she's the irresistible force in the women's division at the moment.
Not like most girls.
She's not like most girls, exactly, and she showed that when she beat down the rest of the division. I would argue that Nia Jax is doing the best work she's done in her career so far. I'm actually really enjoying her work. I'm not gonna lie. I think you can tell that she's been putting in the work, like maybe in the performance center or whoever she's training with. I think she's doing really well. Unfortunately, it's not her time at the moment. I wouldn't be mad if she held the women's title in the next couple of months. I honestly wouldn't. But I think we all want to see Rhea versus Becky, right, at WrestleMania. Yeah. I think that's the match that we're all probably looking for, and the match that the WWE are probably going to be giving us at WrestleMania. But speaking of the women, let's stay with the women. We have got the Women's Elimination Chamber match that Becky Lynch is actually a part of, along with Raquel Rodriguez. If I miss anyone out, please let me know, guys. So we've got Becky Lynch, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan. Who else have we got in there?
Naomi, Bianca.
Naomi, Tiffany Stratton. Who's the last person?
Bianca
Belair. Yeah, I was like, I totally lost my head then. I was like, who are the other 3 people in this match? But yeah, like Ross, I'm going to start with you, seeing as though you're the only person who's not had a first time go yet. So who do you want to win? Why do you want them to win? And what do you think is going to happen?
Who I want to win and who actually I think is going to win are very 2 different situations. I'd love for Naomi to win, get that comeback pop, because they really showed her off at the Rumble and made her last for ages and showed her really strong. But I actually genuinely think it's going to be a Becky win, and I'll stick by me saying Becky Lynch to win because they've kept Rhea and Becky away from each other and kept like dropping the breadcrumbs of there is a feud there. They've stared at each other multiple times, and even Becky's like, right, cool, if it happens, I'll see you at Mania. And even Rhea was like, yeah, okay, I can, like, she believed Becky could do it. So, yeah, I'd say Becky Lynch to win the Chamber.
Okay. Yeah, like, I can totally see like it happening at Mania. Like I said, it's the match that I definitely want. Court, who do you think is going to win?
Before I get into my prediction, I just want to say a lot of people are complaining because this match is not stacked. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, how?
Yeah. Like, this match is incredible. This is the most stacked. This is the most stacked Elimination Chamber match we have had ever. You know why? Because Natalia's not in it, first and foremost. I genuinely think you could make a case for any single one of these women in this match and find a way, storyline-wise, to make it work. I'm loving the way they are pushing Naomi. They are treating her the way that she should have been treated all of that time ago. I definitely think her going away to TNA and then coming back, she's obviously really found herself and found a different layer of her character, and I'm really enjoying seeing what she's doing. I'm stoked that Tiffany's in this match. She's literally been on the main roster for like a month, but I know that she will be able to put on a hell of a show in their chamber. I'm excited to see Bianca. I think this match is actually incredibly stacked, but personally, storyline-wise for me, I would love to see the man versus Mami at Mania. I think on your Raw Women's Division side, that is your biggest match. Becky is the biggest star. As I've mentioned multiple times, Becky's been off doing side quests in NXT to keep her relevant, keep her moving, whilst Rhea's dominating on Raw. They've been dropping the seeds every now and then, so we know it's going to happen. Obviously, TKO want it to happen because it would be your biggest women's draw in terms of money for the match. So I reckon that's your best match. And it's the freshest match that we'll see come out of the Raw Women's Division because we haven't seen them on the main roster before. We've seen them in NXT. But that was a long time ago when they were two different versions of each other, whereas this is fresh, it's new, it's what we want. I have seen a lot of people say that if Becky Lynch is to win, that is my prediction, by the way, that Liv Morgan could find her way to be inserted into a triple threat at Mania, which
absolutely not
stoked by. I don't think that's a great idea.
Us into finding a new gimmick because it's not over.
Wait, I'm going to bring it up. Don't worry.
Yeah. But I think Becky's going to win the chamber. I think she'll come out and confront Rhea after her match, and we'll get that ultimate stare down, just like we had with Rock Roman a couple weeks ago.
I love that. Like, it's just the right thing to do, in my opinion. But seeing as though G talked about something getting brought up, we'll come to you next, G. Who do you think's going to win?
Oh, hold on.
No, we go to JE and then we'll go to G.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no worries. Jay, who do you think's going to win, man?
So firstly, all this positive Naomi talk, I can guarantee that Stu's anti-Naomi radar is going off somewhere in the distance. He doesn't like her, I don't know why. But
it's
so
like
this
not
is the
like
match.
Monet as well, you know, like.
Well, yeah. This is the match where I think Becky's going to win. I do think Becky's going to win. However, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a swerve in this match, and I would not be surprised at all if they shot Tiffany to the top straight away. If Tiffany won that chamber, I wouldn't be surprised. She's pinned Becky Lynch before. She's done that. Like, arguably the toughest woman in that chamber. She could see off Raquel. She could see off Liv, like, quite easily. But Becky is going to win. But I would not be surprised if Tiffany won.
I love that.
Okay.
I like that.
I also love that.
Yeah.
I would like to see Tiffy at the tippy top. That'd be dope.
Do you see she got a new theme song?
Yeah.
How do we feel about
is it good or is it not good?
It was on Monday Night Raw.
I can't remember it. I've only heard it once, so
yeah.
And she's absolutely doing a swanton off one of the pods.
That's what I'm saying.
100%.
I see the prettiest moonsault where she bounces all three, then goes, "Oh no, I'll go even higher."
Yeah.
Then goes on the cage and flips it.
Can't wait.
I'd love that. I'd love to
She
see
was
it.
in
I reckon this is contender for match of the night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the women's matches have been stealing the show on the premium live events as of late. Like I know, like we've been talking about, like the cards in the past, and I think we've always made a habit of talking about how great the women's matches are. Like I think a lot of us can agree the women's Rumble match from this year probably was the best out of the two Rumbles. Like the women's matches on paper, when we look at them, sometimes people think, oh, they're not that great, but actually in the execution, they are really good. They are paying a lot of attention to the performance within the matches, who's in the matches, the storytelling behind it. It's just because I think as well too, we forgot to mention that there is a lot of woven in history as well too between Naomi and Becky. So we could see them being the last two as well, which I would love to see. I feel like that would just warm my SmackDown 2016 heart for sure.
There's one thing we haven't brought up as well. There's two people in that chamber that were a tag team together.
Liv and Raquel.
Raquel and Liv.
Yeah. So we could see them potentially teaming up to get everyone else pinned, and then they're going to have a whole, well, crap, which one of us is going to pin the other one?
I could see the final three being Raquel, Liv, and Becky. I could totally see that. I don't know how they're going to eliminate Tiff, but I could definitely see the final three being Liv, Becky, and Raquel. But G, you said you had something to say. You had something to raise an issue. So go on, let's go.
Yeah. So first of all, my pick is obviously going to be Becky. I would love Tiffany Stratton to win, but I just don't think. I think with her first move to the roster, it's too soon. But her time will come. So I'm going to stick with Becky to win.
Yeah.
However, I don't feel like Liv deserves to be in this match. And I'm going to make this clear because there are so many people out there. Okay, you've got a favourite. You like Liv, that's fine. But it is not her time. She's had her time. It didn't work. She needs repackaging. In all that time she was off, injured, why was they not repackaging her, working on her promo skills, and not bringing her back with the same shitty character that didn't work as a champion?
Do you know what's really
what did it for me with Liv Morgan? What did it for me with Liv Morgan? And it was almost like an instant change of opinion for me. I remember all the way back when she had a rivalry with Carmella before she went on to win the Money in the Bank. Like it was like the year before, and I loved it. I loved the underdog Liv Morgan. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I fell in love with the character. I just thought she was such a lovely person who I wanted her to win everything because I thought she was great. Then she won the Women's Championship. But I remember the moment where I realized I didn't like her character anymore. Because it changed in like a single segment, and I remember what it was, and it was when she was having a promo battle with Ronda Rousey, and then she all of a sudden like turned into this like cocky girl, like, oh, I'm gonna beat you because I'm great as well. Everyone forgets how great I am, and I was sat there and I was listening to it, and I was like, no, this isn't your character. Like you should be saying things like, I'm going to fight the good fight. I'm going to do the best I can. That's your character. Your character is I'm going to fight from the bottom up. Not I'm a great champion. You've been champion for 3 minutes. And you're facing like the baddest woman on the planet. You should be scared. That's your character. You should be intimidated by her. Like it'd make the victory feel even more important when you do beat her. And then she tapped out and ended up pinning her at the same time and all that bullshit. But I remember that was the moment when I turned on Liv Morgan. And now she's back with this character where she's like, oh, I'm here for revenge on everyone, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Revenge on who? Like you got your shoulder injured, and yes, Raquel went on to win a tag team title with someone else because she had to, because you were injured. Like, who are you out for vengeance for? I don't understand the point of her character. I don't. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I didn't like it when she turned into that hardcore person who was like, ha ha ha, watch me jump off a ladder, and I'm smiling when I'm doing it. I'm like, this is so cringe. I hate it when anyone does that. I don't like it.
Something relevant to what you've just said about that.
I don't like it when Joe Gacy's doing it. I don't like it when like the only person who has ever worked for is Mankind. That is the only person who has ever worked for. Like when you do violent.
I'd argue Jeff Hardy when he was a heel, when he did the smile stuff, what made it work. But yeah, Court, you wanted to add to it.
I just think it's funny that we're talking about Liv Morgan and this like the character that Reese was talking about just before. WWE 2K, when they tweeted her entrance video literally put the caption, Queen of Extreme. The woman has had one Extreme Rules match. You cannot call her the Queen of Extreme.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Queen of Extreme.
That's like
what is that?
me calling myself a
What's
man
the
when
Queen
I'm
of
speaking.
Extreme Lita's thing? Wasn't that actually like Lita's thing for a while with Queen of Extreme?
Exactly. So why do
Regardless, like, we all punted for Liv Morgan to be champion. We can all say that we wanted her to have that moment, but it just didn't work when she finally got it.
Yeah, I think it's just because I think what it is for me is Liv Morgan, when she has a good character and she's got a good way of doing it, the chase feels better than the reward. Sometimes people feel better chasing the titles than they do as the champions.
As the champion,
I definitely think she's in that situation where, I mean, if she gets time put in, she could be considered, you know, you could really enjoy watching her chase a title, but it doesn't mean that when she gets it, she's going to do great things with it. It takes a specific kind of person to be a champion and to carry that for as long as they do and do everything that they do. And I just don't think she has it. As I say, like, I don't know, it's just really hard because I don't like constantly sounding like I'm dogging on it, but at the same time, like, you know, you've just got to give me a reason to care about you, and I don't have that, you know.
I think if she'd have kept her original character and, like I say, not switched it up when she was facing Ronda for some reason, like she felt like she needed to step into another gear. I feel like if she kept her little underdog character where she was always fighting from the bottom up, that could have worked as a champion. It's worked for champions before. It's hard for baby faces, in my opinion. It's harder for baby faces to have a good run with the title than heels, because usually for baby faces it is all about the chase. Like for Daniel Bryan, in my opinion, always had a better title run when he was a heel, like that, rather than when he was a face. He's one of the biggest underdogs ever, and I mean, I know he didn't get enough time to show off his stuff. Like Kofi Kingston, for me, like the chase was better than the actual title run. He had a decent title run, but Kofi Mania was better than what actually happened afterwards. I could go on and on about people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's but with heels, it's usually easier.
I think as well too, when it comes to like the title picture in general, I feel as though like the chase can be better than the reward sometimes. And I feel like storyline wise, they really kind of work towards building up that chase when they write for storylines. They don't think about what's going to happen 6 months after the win, if that makes sense.
No, yeah,
and I think a prime example of that as well is Elimination Chamber last year. Everybody wanted Sammy to beat Roman. No one wanted Sammy to be world champion, because it would have worked for maybe a month or two, and then everyone would have been like, well, what? And I love Sami Zayn, but everyone would have been like, well, what now? Everyone wanted him to beat Roman, but they didn't want him to be champion.
World champ,
Yeah, maybe. And that's when the good storyline and good storytelling is done well, is when every single babyface that comes in, you want them to win just because you want to see that moment for them. But maybe the champion they're going up against is not the right fit for them to actually win that title.
Exactly.
It's like, as you say, if you have sacrificed this really long reign just so that Sami Zayn can get this moment, and it's only for a month, you'd be like, well, why the hell did we do that? It just completely tarnished Roman's reign. Whereas right now, what we're seeing, and this is completely off topic, but what we are seeing from Sami Zayn, genuinely, I think they are building him up to not only win Money in the Bank this year, but get that World Heavyweight Championship at some point. I'm enjoying that chase more, because that chase is like, he's got the underdog in him. He's literally like clutching and like striving and doing anything he can to just like be seen as credible again. And that storyline for me, I definitely think if they keep cooking it, it's going to be really good.
I mean, to be fair, you might be right. I think they're building him up to beat Gunther, in my opinion. I think that's going to be his Mania moment. He said he's chasing his Mania moment. I think he's going to be the one to beat Gunther. Just before we move on for the women's Elimination Chamber match, like mine is the same as all of you guys. I'm pulling for Becky. I want to see Mami and Man Mania. That's going to be dope. I think there's quite a lot of people in this match who could theoretically build storylines heading into WrestleMania from this match. Like you say, you've got Bianca Belair in there. I have a feeling Jade Cargill is going to be involved in some way in the next couple of months with Bianca Belair. Maybe like seeds could be formed like during or after this pay-per-view, like surrounding her performance in the chamber. She feels the need to prove herself. I don't care what Liv Morgan does. I really don't. Naomi, in my opinion, the best SmackDown Women's Champion ever. I don't know what she's going to be doing after Elimination Chamber, but I hope she finds a way to WrestleMania in some way. But yeah, I think it makes sense for Becky Lynch to win. I mean, we might as well move on to the next Elimination Chamber match, just because we're on about.
Can I just check JE's answer for the women's because I didn't write it down?
It was Becky.
Becky.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, Becky. Elimination Chamber for the men. We have got now. This is stacked. Like you were saying, the women's is stacked. It definitely is, but this one's stacked like a club sandwich, baby. We have got so many things going on in this match. Not just the chamber, but there's so many different people in this match that could potentially come out like. This is the WrestleMania moment for some of these guys. Like this is where their road really does start in this match. I'm interested to see what all of you are saying, but seeing as though you are the guest, my guy, and this is the last match of the night, JE, who do you think is going to win and why?
So the brand split means absolutely nothing because it's to face the Raw champion and there's one Raw guy in it. Everyone else is SmackDown.
Literally.
But it's really hard to look past Drew McIntyre winning. But my only thought with that is obviously Cody is a Raw guy and he's going for a SmackDown belt. So are they going to get a SmackDown guy to go for the Raw belt, or is Cody going to win and just swap brands, or is he going to win and bring the belt back? That we don't know yet. I'm gonna say Drew McIntyre because that's what I've predicted on another one. So I'm gonna stick with that. But like you say, there's loads that can come out of here. Logan Paul, LA Knight. That's the United States Championship match at WrestleMania. I would have had Dom qualify over KO. I don't think KO needs to be in this match, and I would have loved to have seen Dom in it. Just because you can just imagine him trying to run around and like try and hide or something, and then someone pulling him down, like maybe him getting KO'd off the top or something like that. If it's not Drew, it's Randy. Logan's not winning. LA Knight's not winning. Bobby Lashley's not winning, and KO's not winning. It's either Randy or Drew, but I'm gonna say it's Drew McIntyre because he's on an absolute tear at the moment. He's doing such good work as a heel, and like everything from his t-shirt with like CM Punk's Mania moment on it to everything. That. But it's got to be Drew. I'm gonna stick with Drew.
Oh, I love that. I love the idea as well. You talk about Drew doing amazing work. He really is, and he is a heel, but like you can't argue with anything that he does.
No.
When he was on Raw this week, and like the commentary were calling him a hypocrite, I was like, no. Like, what was he supposed to do? Just lie down and let Cody beat him? Of course, he's going to take advantage of just because he took advantage of a situation doesn't make him a hypocrite. And he even mentioned it when he went backstage. So he's kind of like a heel, but he's a justified heel. Like he does everything like he's out for himself, but like he doesn't do anything outright just evil. Like he goes after people who talk crap about him. Like I love that. I think he's great. So I totally agree with the whole Drew thing. I would have also had Dominic qualify for this chamber. I totally agree with you. I was just about to say with KO as well though. KO for me is like the Liv Morgan of the men's division at the moment. No. I do not care about Kevin Owens at all. I'm sorry, no. I'd like you tell me one interesting thing Kevin Owens has done since he lost the tag team titles, and I'll give you a cookie. Like he's done literally nothing. I can't be bothered with him. On every time he appears on my screen, he's always talking about something stupid, or like he's fighting with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and I don't care about that either.
You literally just described Roman to me.
Are you saying that Roman Reigns is the Liv Morgan of the men's division?
Oh god. This absolute blasphemy. I was just about to come to you and get your opinion caught. Now I don't know if I want it. Like,
Good.
I'm going to revoke your Perth ticket.
I just got them the other day. So.
No, I'm joking. Go on. Who do you think is going to win and why?
I think as well too with the men's one, it's very stacked. You could make storyline. You could weave in a storyline some way, shape, or form of how anybody in this match could win. Something that hasn't been mentioned so far is I think all but one of these men have had some association with Seth Rollins in the past, which is why I'm saying storyline-wise it makes sense. The only person that hasn't is LA Knight, and that's just because he's obviously been on SmackDown. Seth Rollins has been on Monday Night Raw. In terms of like two people that I'd like to see win, I'd like to see Randy and Drew, but my pick is Drew. I definitely think that they're in a position where he is getting a lot of character development, and I'm really enjoying it. And as you say, like, it is completely justified, everything he's doing. Like, why would you sit back for so long and take that treatment and not take advantage of it and not try and serve yourself in some way, shape, or form? People have been, you know, interrupting his matches and costing him titles and all that stuff, and it's him being especially jaded since he lost it or gained it in 2020 when there was no one around. That would definitely like start a fire burning inside that you would want to eventually, you know, have that moment in front of the crowd. I do think we are going to be seeing that, and I'm not mad at it. I'm really not.
100%.
If you had told me that Drew McIntyre from last year was going to be challenging for the world title this year, I wouldn't have believed you. But because of the character evolution he's had since last year, he's genuinely more believable as a world heavyweight champion to me now.
It really is a character evolution as well, because you got to think about the time. Like, you know, you talk about WWE like commentary and all that, bringing across that, like, you know, oh, he's a douchebag, he's a dick, and all that sort of thing. Well, like, I'll throw it back to a couple of months ago when he actually did hesitate in a match, and it was against Seth Rollins, and he ended up costing him.
Yeah.
So he turned around and went, all right, okay, fine. If you all agree that I shouldn't have hesitated and you really should have capitalized on it, fine, I'll do that. And now people are calling him for doing that as well. And he's like, well, I can't win, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. How about that? And everyone is hating him for it. And it's like, you're such a justified heel. Like, the best kind of heels, or the best kind of bad guy, even in cinema and TV show, the best kind of bad guy is the one that you either empathize with, or they actually are just not evil for the sake of evil. They've actually got a purpose. They actually make sense. If they weren't doing such bad things, like, they'd actually probably be the good guy, like, because of the things that they're saying. Like, that's why Drew is such a fascinating, and he's such a captivating person on your TV.
Yeah,
whenever he's got a backstage segment and people ask him why he's done that, why he's doing this, you always listen to what he says, because you want to hear his explanation. Is it going to be, oh, because I wanted to and I'll do whatever I want? Or is he going to actually explain it? And he usually does explain it. I love
and as well too, you're talking about empathizing with people. It's like, if you were in his situation and you had that shit happen to you for so long, you would hit a breaking point too. And that's the thing, is he's hit a realistic breaking point, because we have seen him go through all of this crap when it comes to everything he's been put through and everybody interfering in his moment, like him getting, he's trying to finish the story too. I don't think people realize that he's trying to finish his story as well. And I think we're seeing a lot of those moments actually culminating in people not only believing that he could be a champion, but actually understanding the reason why. Because I know people, whenever someone turns heel, they're like, oh, I didn't understand why they turned heel, or they're better as a babyface. But it's like, with Drew, it's completely justified. Like, I don't even need you to explain it anymore. I've been with you on this ride for a long time. I can see why. And I get it, my guy. I get it. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it's so gradual that I can't actually pinpoint the moment where he did turn heel.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I can't give you a moment where he went from being a good guy to a bad guy, because in my opinion, he never did. Like, he's for me, he's still kind of in the middle, but pushing more towards being a bad guy. Like, I can't justifiably say a situation where I've looked at Drew and gone, I wouldn't have done that in that situation. And I think that's amazing.
And it's a job well done on WWE's behalf.
It's such a good job. It's one of, like, it's been cooking underneath the main event for a bit. But in my opinion, it's probably one of the best character developments they've done in years. Like, years. A long time.
I do think that story arc of him going through stuff still isn't over, though. I do think if he wins the Chamber, he goes on and he beats Seth at Mania, but then gets instantly cashed in on by Priest.
Ooh.
He's finally won it in front of fans, and then he gets instantly cashed in on.
No, because I actually can see that happening, and I don't want it. I don't want it to happen.
Or the other thing I said was, we do a complete role reversal of Drew gets it, Seth retain. Okay, never mind. No, go on.
Carry on. I'll stop.
No, go on.
Carry on. No, go.
So I was saying Seth wins and retains it, and Damien does what Seth did those years ago, Ice of the Century, to completely just screw over Seth's whole ego of this, I'm this greatest champion, I'm this workhorse. And Damien's like, thanks for giving me the best way of taking away your opportunity, the way you did those years ago.
Oh, I like that. I could see that happening.
That's the two
I could literally see Drew's face in that match. Like, if you hear Damian Priest music, like, I could see face, like that he comes out and cashes in and he's in the ring, and I can just see Drew like piercing a hole through Damien, like looking at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That sets up for a rematch for Damien and Drew at Backlash anyway.
Yeah, real. Ross, I mean, I know I've probably got your answer right there from what you've just said, but like, who have you got on why, my guy?
So first pick I'm going to throw out is there's one person in this Elimination Chamber match I don't think needed to be in it. I think he could have just had a separate match with someone completely new. And I think it's a bit bullshit you didn't get Bronson Reed into the chamber. That's like one of your big, strong Aussie representations, especially on the main roster. Yeah, I know he's not main superstar material, but he's been doing bits with his gimmick and what they've gave him. So it just doesn't make sense to me. You wouldn't have a powerhouse like him in the chamber to shake it up a bit. But yeah, for me, it's the exact same. I could see Drew winning it because I think no one else really fits the storyline agenda of Seth the way Drew does. Drew is consistently being like, look, I've gave Seth still an opportunity with Mania. I screwed CM Punk over, which also Seth wanted. Cody's finishing his story. You can all thank me later. And the thing he is going to do is, I'm going to make it easier for Seth now by winning so he can go and heal himself. The fans will be happy about that because they don't want one of their favorites not being able to wrestle. It works perfectly with how he's playing this story into it. But the only other person I could see, other than Drew, like Drew is my pick to win, but there is one other person I could see do it. And it was literally, as Courtney pointed out, everyone else has had prior experience with Seth, except one particular person, that being LA Knight. I think LA Knight is very much a wild card, would shock everyone, because people still want LA Knight as a champion, whatever way, shape, or form. I think that'd be a crazy swerve of they've never faced each other. They don't know how they work in a ring against each other. And I think promo-wise would be absolutely phenomenal between the two of them. But yeah, Drew to win for story reasons.
I will say, like
they're throwing there with LA Knight, like you and Courtney are on the same page in terms of like you're following a path there that could actually lead to somewhere. But I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just quickly say with the Bronson Reed situation, I was a little bit annoyed that he wasn't going to be in this match, but it has come out since that his wife is like expecting their baby soon, and so I don't think they wanted to risk having him in Australia when the baby was born in America. I get that, I completely understand that, but why advertise him for a qualifying match if you know he's not ultimately going to win? That was my standpoint behind it.
And it was the way he tweeted, like, it didn't come across like it was his character. He tweeted as, like, actually just Bronson, like, him as Jonah. Like, Jonah tweeted out being like, I'm sorry, I've let you guys down. And I'm like, me as a Bronson fan, I'm like, you haven't let me down. I know it's a booking decision. They're not going to let you do it.
Yeah. I would say this could potentially lead to a character development for Bronson. This could work in his favor. I think you could argue that maybe like, all right, I wasn't taking my career as serious as I should have. It's time to show you the real Bronson Reed. Time to show you what I can really bring to the table. And I think maybe you could start building him up after WrestleMania. If his wife is having a child, obviously hit the reset button after Mania. Give him a nice 2024 to work on. That's what I'd do. I would work it into character development.
Yeah, I get that.
I just think it's dumb you don't push him because he beat Okada. Like, he beat one of the GOATs.
Yeah. I think it's odd. I think it's odd that he's had a bit of a stop and start run on the main roster, but it is what it is. Like I say, hopefully 2024 yields better results for Bronson. But only time will tell, I suppose. G, who do you reckon's going to win the chamber and why?
I'm pretty much on the same level as everybody else. I've got Drew to win. I can't see anybody else winning. I also think that Logan Paul and LA Knight will be a match coming out of this for WrestleMania. Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
I would argue that, I mean, it's the same sentiment that all of you have. And I've said this on the podcast a couple of times because I feel like it's happened a couple of times, but it's not the bad thing. And I will say that predictability is not always a bad thing. And sometimes the reason why something is predictable is because it's the right thing that should happen. And the same reason why Becky Lynch should win the Women's Royal Rumble is probably the same reason why Drew should win the Men's Elimination Chamber.
Because it makes sense.
Because it makes sense. Because you want a match at Mania that makes sense. Drew's sort of like on a redemption arc of his own to win a championship in front of the crowd, to have his own like to be in his mind to be the savior of WrestleMania. You want Becky versus Rhea because it's the two biggest stars in the women's division and they haven't had anything to do with each other for a year. You want that because it makes sense. You could even argue at the lower level, you want R-Truth and The Miz to win the tag team title, like because it makes sense for like R-Truth to maybe get his own back on the Judgment Day. It's, like I say, sometimes predictability is okay.
Yeah,
like it's fine because I'll put it to you another way. For years and years, we were sort of riling against WWE because they wouldn't give us what we wanted, because they would always push the person that they wanted to, and we'd never see anything that we want, which is why we loved NXT so much, because they always did push the people that we wanted to and they gave us good stories. So now that it's happening, don't be mad at it. Be happy. Enjoy the ride. Like if
it's a case of like, it doesn't matter what people do. People will always find a way to be upset about something. As you just said, Reese, I completely agree with you. People were upset with WWE for doing hotshot booking decisions, booking people that we didn't want to see, people that didn't make sense. And now that we're on the flip side of that coin, and Triple H is doing his due diligence, building stories, giving them natural courses and giving them the endings that they deserve, people are still being like, oh, well, I wanted so-and-so to win. Okay, in your mind, that's cool. But 95% of wrestling fans want a story to make sense from beginning, middle, and end. A story doesn't just end in the middle and you get to just pick a random person to win the chamber. That's not how this works. So I completely applaud Triple H and what he's doing. And, sometimes these do feel like slow burns and slow builds. But ultimately, I've been finding that I've been really satisfied with a lot of the decisions he's been making that make sense. The people deserve to be pushed. And ultimately, we want to see the product thrive and do well. And I think we're seeing that as of late. And I'm really excited to see how we go, especially at Chamber and then the road to WrestleMania as well, too.
The thing is, it's this time of year is so difficult with it being the road to WrestleMania. To book a premium live event between Rumble and Mania is so difficult when you've got to keep champions for WrestleMania. Yeah,
because you've got an end game. Like you try to tell a story that's lasting the whole road to WrestleManias, but you have to keep it interesting at the same time. It's like difficult.
The whole point is you've got your Royal Rumble winners who pick their main event match at WrestleMania. Yeah. You've then got your Elimination Chamber matches, which go up against the second hand of the people that didn't get picked. But then you've got to throw in some matches in there that are interesting. But ultimately, we know them belts aren't being lost because they're being held till WrestleMania. It's difficult. It's so difficult.
Especially WrestleMania's 2 nights as well. This is the thing you've got to work. Like I also add is you'll need to keep your main champions because you're going to want to represent one champion one night, one the other night. And even then, there's other booking decisions that are available that they might want to not do till Mania. Like you could have a champ double defend. Like they have night 1, they have a defense match. They win that one. On the same night, you do like a fatal 4-way special showcase of these wrestlers to get a number 1 contender spot for night 2 of Mania and things like that. I don't think they would ever do that because I think it's quite risky, especially in case an injury happens of night 1. But there's things like that they're not going to want to push in Elimination Chamber. So you're perfectly right there. It's a very different, difficult booking scenario.
Yeah, exactly. I completely get that. It's a really difficult balance of making things work in terms of storylines and wanting to make the fans happy.
Yeah, for sure.
It is 100%. And speaking of making fans happy, I always love a pay-per-view that's not 15 hours long. I always love it when we get quality over quantity, which is why it feels like it's been a bit of a shorter Elimination Chamber predictions video. But now that we've all got the predictions out of the way, has anyone got any final thoughts on the Perth show coming up on Saturday? Has anyone got anything to say about it?
Yeah. To add to
Okay.
you saying things that make us happy, I also love a pay-per-view being very early in the morning where I can sit down, drink a coffee, and watch some premium live wrestling without having to get it spoiled on Twitter. I can enjoy it as it happens, and I don't have to stay up till 5 a.m.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's gonna
good.
be so good
I'm
for you
literally,
guys.
instead of having a Domino's pizza, I'm gonna make a fry up. It's gonna be fabulous.
Exactly. I get to fry up a
that's
coffee
amazing.
and get to watch wrestling live.
Watch
like
SmackDown straight into Elimination Chamber. It's going to be fab. Just to take a note for those that are watching, there will be no SmackDown review this week, as the time of recording is the same time Elimination Chamber is on.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that they may make sense, to be fair. I might order just like a McDonald's breakfast to watch Elimination Chamber.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing.
saying.
Mackey's breakfast.
I'm on a diet, so I'm going to cook bacon and sausage and eggs in my air fryer. So
Let
fat.
us know what is going to be your
Your
breakfast,
protein.
your breakfast. Let us know
Your
what your
protein.
breakfast is for Elimination Chamber when you go and watch it in the UK. If you're American, sorry, you're up at 3 a.m. It's a standard thing for us.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to our world.
Yeah, you're on GMT time now, baby.
It's one of these. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Right,
Waking
shall
up
I
at 3
quickly
o'clock. in
go
the morning.
over what I wrote down just to make sure I've got everybody's right, and then we'll wrap it up?
Sure
Yeah,
thing.
that's great.
Cool. Right, Reese. So I've got the men's Drew, women's Becky, Rhea versus Nia, Rhea, tag match Judgment Day.
Correct.
Right, Ross, men's Drew, women's Rhea, Becky. Ignore me. Rhea versus Nia, Rhea, and the tag match Pete and Tyler.
New Catch Republic, yeah.
Pete and Tyler. Courtney,
Pete
men's,
Dunne, mate.
women's Becky, Rhea versus Nia, Rhea, tag match Judgment Day.
Mhm.
Me, Drew, Becky, Rhea, Judgment Day, that's fine. JE, men's Drew, women's Becky, Rhea versus Nia, Rhea, tag match Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So everybody is the same except Ross, who has picked Tyler and Pete Dunne to win.
I'm allowed to be biased again.
Cool. Have you got any final thoughts, seeing as though you were right there in Perth?
There's lots of flags everywhere. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. What's the atmosphere been like? Is it because in Cardiff, like we just saw wrestling fans everywhere?
Yeah, it was crazy yesterday. You didn't jump in backstage before we jumped on, but it was crazy. Like the line for the Superstore was literally almost about 1 kilometer long. People had gotten there at like 6:30 in the morning, even though it opened up at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. There were news reporters there. Like it was just crazy. Like there were just wrestling fans everywhere, and it was super cool because like people were like stopping and talking to me about stuff as well too. And you kind of like, I feel like you don't realize how big a community is when you feel so isolated for so long. When you guys come together, it's like you've instantly got something that you guys can talk about, which is super cool. I didn't expect it, but it was cool. The atmosphere is crazy. The press conference is happening today, and I will be there as well, which is awesome. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any words because my brain still isn't comprehending that I'm here. It's just, yeah, it's wild. It's insane.
Absolutely buzzing for you, man. Like I love that you brought up the fact that as a wrestling fan, you do feel kind of isolated. I mean, before TikTok, like being a wrestling fan was quite isolated for me.
Yeah.
I had people in real life who was friends with like John and Courtney, Courtney's on TikTok as well. But it was just kind of us watching wrestling, and then we'd go to a certain club in town sometimes, and we'd see other wrestling fans, maybe. And then when TikTok opened, we had a whole universe of like wrestling fans all over the UK, all over the world. Now we have a podcast, like, and when we talk wrestling, we went to Cardiff. You guys have been to London, and just like the amount of wrestling fans that are there all in one place. It's a rare sight to see, but it's a great thing to experience. Like actually have people who have the same interests as you all in one place all at one time. And just, I feel like it's a very nice community to be a part of as well. I mean, being a football fan, it's great and everything, but you do get a bit of animosity between fans. Like, but with a wrestling fan, you're just a fan of wrestling. He doesn't usually come. He's not usually deeper than that unless you've got like a burning hatred for a certain brand.
The little circle of people that I've met on TikTok that I now call my close friends are fabulous. Like, I'm so grateful for TikTok for bringing wrestling and people to me because it's great.
Yeah, for real. I agree.
And not only do we spend time together with wrestling, like a bunch of these people I've been to concerts with, we've had nights out. Like, it's not just wrestling; we are literally friends now. So it's fab.
Yeah, it was the initial connection, and then you've become friends through that, which I think is a true testament of how apps can truly work in our favor, but also just how like friendships can form and grow and develop as well.
Whereas, like as Reese perfectly said with me, it was like I kind of had that for a long time, as where I just only had like a couple of friends I could talk to about it. Like my uni flatmate got me back into it around Kofi Mania. Like I'd always watch New Japan, but I didn't really watch WWE. And then me and him got really close. We'd watch, like I'd consistently watch WWE, so we had to talk about it. And then when I got my job moving back here, I found Keaton was into wrestling, and it was just always me and Keaton would talk about it. And then G convincing me to post on TikTok because people wanted to know my opinions and that. Yeah, it opened massive amount of doors to just get to speak to all of you guys and make friends that way. It's a really cool community to have when people don't turn it into animosity or toxicity. Like, because you disagree on the wrestler, that's like the only issue we have, is where people take it way too serious. It's like, end of the day, like who you like, dislike who you dislike. We could talk about it, but we don't need to hate each other.
Unfortunately, there is a bunch of people on TikTok that have let their ego get to them, and that ruins it for everybody else. But we will not speak anymore on that because we are a positive community here.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, guys, it's been an absolutely amazing conversation for Elimination Chamber. Coming up on Saturday. Oh, I actually can't wait. It's going to be an amazing pay-per-view. I'm really jealous of Courtney. I hope you actually have a best weekend of your life, just because I know how long you've been waiting for it. The rest of us in the UK, awesome start time. It's going to be unbelievable. Can't wait for that. Make sure you catch all of the reactions that we're all going to be giving all over TikTok and all over YouTube. J.E., do you want to promote yourself right now before I'm signing off?
Why not? So you can find me on TikTok at Jewrestletok for all your daily wrestling content. And I'm sorry, but the boys will kill me if I don't. You can find us as a collective at SnapBacks Beards on TikTok as well. The other, I'm not going to say the other UK podcasts that are out here doing bits, but we're all great. We're all friends, and maybe we'll come along and have that third and final round with you guys to see who the ultimate champions are. Although, what I will say is, if I get a question like, "What did my nan have for breakfast last Thursday?" I'm leaving.
Don't come for me like that.
I'm gonna ask you a question like, how many beans was on Ross's plate on his full English while he was watching the Elimination Chamber match?
My idea for the third and final Outcasted versus Snapbacks is I'm gonna get an outsider to do the quizzes, but I've got to find somebody that's willing to take that much work on.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but anyway, if you didn't catch J.E.'s socials, they are all down in the description because somebody's really good at doing that. And I also put Snapbacks Beards there.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But no, thanks for having me, guys.
You can also find the description. Oh, we've had an absolute pleasure having you here, dude. Also in the description, you can find all of our individual TikTok and Instagram channels if you want to go check that out. Go follow Outcasted on TikTok, on X, and subscribe and put your thumbs up in the comments down below and say how much you love this video and how much you agree with everything that we've just said, because we're always right. And if you didn't like it, also comment that, because it really helps with the algorithm. So make sure you do that also, yeah. But for now, guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Go check out the Monday Night Raw review that I did. Go check out the NXT review that I did. And yeah, peace out, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.